man is back.
Oh, okay, boys. Oh my gosh, the man got that stuff. This is a 5 out of freaking 5.
It is beat making time.
Next week is E3 week. My album comes out next week.
I have the leopard. Look at that, my God.
This is your boy. All right, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube citizens, y'all know who this is. This is your boy, That's the True Inferno. Back at it with another Call of Duty Black Ops commentary video for you guys. Call of Duty Black Ops 7 commentary video for you guys, rather. Okay, originally, I was going to talk about Nintendo making price changes, started with the upcoming Yoshi game, in terms of whether you should get digital or physical. But this news dropped prior to me coming out with that video. So this news takes top priority. You've seen the title. If you're a gamer, you should know what I'm talking about. Sony raises the price of their PlayStation 5s once again. This is the second time in over 7 months since they did it the first time. So this is some crazy news. So we're gonna combine everything. What the PlayStation were like when it first came out to where it's gonna be when this video drops. Because the price effect will take place when this video drops, by the way. So we are going to combine everything. All right, so let's get on with it. Check this out. So going back to prior to what? August the 20th of last year, the PS5 went up by $50. So we're talking about the regular, the digital, and the Pro. So back then, it was $500. But then when August came around, it went from $500 to $550. Now, that month went from $550 to $650. Let that sink in. It went from $500 to $650 within the span of 7 months, which is crazy. Before I go on, let me give you guys the article. Actually, I'm mistaken. So the price effect will take place the day after this video drop. At that point, I'll be flying to Orlando, but that's another story for another day. So let's check this out. This is from Vice President Global Marketing at Sony Interactive Entertainment. So this is Isabel Tomatis, how you pronounce their last name? With continued pressures in the global economic landscape, we made the decision, last time they said difficult decision, apparently it wasn't difficult this time, apparently, to increase the price of the PS5, PS5 Pro, and the PlayStation Portal remote player globally. This is the first time they raised the price for the PlayStation Portal, by the way. Moving on. We know that price changes impact our community, and after careful evaluation, we found this was a necessary step to ensure we can continue delivering innovative, high-quality gaming experiences to players worldwide, which is cap. But let's move on. The updated recommended retail prices for PS5 consoles are effective starting April the 2nd as follows. For all other territories, please check with your local retailer or direct.playstation.com where it is available. So I just gave you the regular PS5. It went from $500 to $550 to $650. So again, that's a $150 price increase over the last 7+ months. Now let's get on to the digital version. So going back to prior to August of last year, the digital version went from $450 to $500. Now they raised it to $600. So another $150 increase over the course of the past 7+ months. So it went from $450 to $600. Oh, but here's the kicker. Y'all ready for the PlayStation 5 Pro? Y'all ready for that Pro price? Yeah, let's get on with that. So the Pro, when it first came out, was at $700. And even back then, I was telling y'all, don't get the Pro. You know the PS6 is coming out. Don't get the Pro. I was telling people that, don't get the Pro. That price point is too high, especially given the fact that there's not a lot of stuff in there. Just get a PC or wait for the PlayStation 6. I've been telling people that when that mug was at $700. Then back in August, they raised it to $750. Guess where it is? Or guess where it's going to be? $900. So that mug is going to get a $200 increase over the course of the last 7+ months. And how long has the PS5 been out for? How long has this thing been out for? The PlayStation 5 came out, I don't recall the top of my head, but that mug came out, I want to say I could be mistaken here. nearly a decade ago. Okay, well, no, it's not nearly a decade ago, but it came out November the 12th, 2020. November the 12th, 2020. Now, granted, it came out in key markets, so we're talking the United States, Japan, Canada, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, and South Korea. And then 7 days later, it came out for the rest of the world. The Slim came out in October 2023, and the PS5 Pro came out in September 2024. But focusing on the fact that the original PS5 came out in November 2020, so we're a little over 5 years into this current system's living space or whatever. And instead of lowering the prices, they're raising the prices. And not only are they raising the prices, but they raising it for the second time within 7 months. That is unacceptable. That is really, really unacceptable. But we're not done there. So let's take a look at the UK. And I did a video about Europe last time about that whole PS5 rental thing. But this is crazy right there. Let's take a look at this real quick. So in the UK, I don't know where it was at originally, but y'all gonna get hit up with, what is that? I think that's what's that symbol? That symbol is pound. Okay. So the UK deal with pound. What did Europe deal with then? Euros. I think it's euros. Okay. So y'all got hit. The PS5 would now be £569 and 99 pint. I think that's the coin equivalence of that. Equivalent rather, that pint, I think. I could be mistaken on that. If I am, let me know. The digital edition will be 519, or let's round it up. So £570 for the regular PS5. The digital edition will be £520, and the PS5 Pro will be £790. Now, let's take a look at out in Europe. Europe, y'all gonna be getting hit with the PS5 for 650 euros, excuse me. The digital edition will be 600 euros, and the PS5 Pro will be 900 euros. So it's kind of similar to the US pricing, but it's in euros. Now let's go to Japan, which I'll be going to in about a month from now, more or less. A little over a month from now. I can't wait for that trip. The regular PS5 is 97,980 yen. The digital edition is 89,980 yen. And the PS5 Pro is a whopping 137,980 yen. Again, I can speak on where those price points were 7 months ago, or where they are right now as of me recording this video. But that's not good. That's not good. Now let's talk about the PlayStation Portal. So the price will go up for that on the same day as well, which is April 2nd. So as of right now in the US, that mug is $200. I actually got one. But although the black one do look sick, I got the right one. So I'm selling with the right one. I had no desire to get the black one, but though the black one looked nice, but whatever. That mug gonna go up by $50. So it could go from $200 to $250. In the UK, it would be £220. In Europe, it's 250 euros. And in Japan, it would be 39,980 yen. So there you go with that. And this is crazy. This is really, really, really crazy. Now, one thing I want to do is read you an article from Inc.com because the title actually catches my eye. So the title of this article is called, and there's some quotes here, insane, end quote, end quote again, disgusting, end quote. Why Sony just shattered a decades-old gaming rule and anger fans. Subtitle, prices are jumping as much as 20%, defying the usual pattern of post-launch discounts and raising new questions about demand. This is by Leela Sheridan. So this mug came out yesterday as of me recording this video. In a blog post posted Friday, Sony Interactive Entertainment said it will raise prices across several PlayStation products in April 2nd to be exact, marking the second increase in just over 7 months. The hikes affect the PS5, both base and digital editions, obviously, the newer PS5 Pro and the PlayStation Portable Remote Play, excuse me. The increases are steep. And they talk about where you're going to go, to where it was at as of right now, by the way. So, by the way, according to, what's her name again? Her name is Leela. The fact, where is that right now to where it's going to be is a 20% increase. So, now I seriously have to do math in terms of where was that over 7 months ago to where it's going to be now. That's going to be higher than 20%. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind, ladies and gentlemen. But let's move on. Sony framed the decision as a response to macroeconomic strain, Isabel Tomatis, the company's vice president of global marketing, cited, and here's a quote. Oh, well, going off the article. Continued pressures in the global economic landscape, end quote, adding that the company made the move after careful evaluation, end quote, to sustain, quote, high quality game experiences, end quote. But the explanation leaves open a larger question. Why are console prices rising years after launch, where they have historically fallen? Outlets including IGN and Bloomberg have flagged ongoing memory chip constraints, driven in parts by surging demand for artificial intelligence infrastructures, as one potential factor squeezing supply. Others have noted the lingering impact of tariffs on electronics, which have raised costs across the gaming industry in recent years. Together, those forces are helping invert a long-standing pattern consoles have, and that was I messed up right there. There's supposed to be a period after the pattern. Consoles have typically become less expensive over time as manufacturing scales and components become more efficient. Instead, Sony has now raised PS5 prices twice since 2025. Excuse me. Oh, I'm all over the place. I'm tired. Pushing the console further from its original $499 launch, $500. $500. Don't ignore the 99 cents. It's $500 from its original $500 launch price in 2020. The risk is that higher prices could dampen demand, particularly among more price-sensitive buyers who tend to enter the market later in a console's life cycle. Earlier consumers, like myself, reactions suggest frustration is already building. Comments on Sony's announcement range from shock to outright anger, with some users calling the increase insane and disgusting. Both of those words are quoted. Others pointing to how unusual the move feels. Consoles have traditionally become more affordable over time, not less. And here's the quote. If I did not already own a PS5, I certainly would not buy one at that price, one commentator wrote. For Sony, the strategy signals a bet that demands for its ecosystem, from hardware to software to subscriptions, remains strong enough to absorb higher upfront costs. For consumers, it marks a notable shift in its current economic climate. Even Asian tech is getting more expensive. That's the end of the article. And that last part reminds me of something as well. Sony is now getting into the habit of not releasing their games on PC. So in order for you to play some of their games, you have to get a PS5 or a PlayStation Portable, or maybe both. I don't know. But so now that they're doing that and they raising prices again for the second time in 7 months, here's my thoughts on this whole situation. I said this the last time I talked about Sony, that you PS4 broke boys are 2 to 3 years too late when it comes to getting a PS5. This is before this. This was even before they dropped this nonsense right here. And the reason why I say that, because you know the PS6 is coming out. The majority of games that are on the PS5 are not console sellers. Putting it kindly, the majority of PlayStation exclusives are not console sellers. I can't even think of maybe one game that is a console seller. Like, yeah, there are good games on the PS5, but at the same time, not a single PlayStation 5 game that I can think of off the top of my head should automatically make me want to go out and buy a PlayStation. There's not a single PlayStation exclusive game. Now, am I saying go get an Xbox? No, because Xbox is worse. Xbox raised their prices twice as well, within the same calendar year, mind you, and they got the inferior console. So the PS5 is better at terms of performance, graphics, and all that. It's better than the Xbox Series X. So your only option at this point is to get a PC, which is tough now because of the whole RGB component. That part is now expensive for some strange reason. I don't know why. Or get a Switch 2 or get a Steam Deck, something along those lines. And you better get a Switch 2 now before those prices go up. Again, Nintendo had not made any announcement in terms of raising those prices. They have looked into it, but they have not made any decisions on raising the prices of the Switch 2 at this moment in time. So if you're thinking about getting one, you better get one right now. You better get one right now before those prices go up. So keep that in mind. But in terms of this, nobody should be buying the PS5 right now. Nobody should be buying the PS5 right now. If you want to, I'm not sure if you should buy a PlayStation Portable right now. I really not sure if you should get that. I generally don't know. I'm leaning more towards no, but that's a new one. So that's like the first time the prices for that went up. So if you were to go out and buy a PlayStation Portable, I'm not going to lose sleep. It's not the end of the world. I'm not going to go crazy about it. But if I catch anybody buying a PlayStation 5, now we have a different ball game. Now I'm going to look at you and wondering, are you insane in the head, boy? Because, like I said, before they raised the prices for the second time in 7 months, the chance to buy a PlayStation 5 expired 2 to 3 years ago. It just, it disappeared 2 to 3 years ago. So you should have done it 2 to 3 years ago. If you haven't done it now, don't do it now. Wait for the PS6. Wait for the PS6. That's all I'm going to say, because this is nonsense. It makes no sense to me why anybody will get a system that's been out for close to 6 years. And not to mention, you could, because of the fact that the Switch 2 came out, you can look at this and say that this is a previous gen console now. That and the Xbox Series X. Granted, PlayStation nor Microsoft have not released a new system yet. Obviously, they're both going to, but some may wonder about Microsoft, but both of them will, especially Sony, obviously. But this is more or less previous gen consoles, and they raising the prices on them 2 times within 12 months. Both of them did it. Sony did it now, and Microsoft did it last year. So this is blasphemous. It's asinine. Nobody should be buying the PlayStation 5 before they raise the price for the second time, and they damn sure should not be buying it now, especially since they raised the prices. Nobody should not be buying any type of PlayStation 5. None. Nobody. It's a wrap for Sony with the PlayStation 5. And you know what? I'm going to say this. I'm going to be off topic a little bit, but I'm going to say this as well. The PlayStation 5, that generation is ruined because of PlayStation 4 broke boards. Because let me set the stage for you. I think I talked about this in my last video, but let me set the stage for you guys real quick. If the PlayStation 4 broke boards have gotten a PlayStation 5 sooner, then the demand for some of these newer games to be made for the PlayStation 4 will go down, or borderline will not exist. So when we get the games on PlayStation 5, they will look much better than they already do right now. So you probably wondering what you're talking about. So when developers make these games, and I don't know who made the decision, whether it's the developers, the publishers, I don't know who it is. But when the developers make these games for the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 4, and this is the same for Nintendo with the Switch 2 and the Switch 1, and this is, although Microsoft, I don't think they've done it like that, but you can bet your money when it comes to the Xbox Series X and S, in comparison to the Xbox One, the previous Xbox system, they are not going to take the same game and make 2 different versions of that same game. They're not doing that. Instead, they're going to make one version of that game, but dumb it down so it can still be playable on the PlayStation 4. Meaning the performance, the graphics, the looks, the atmosphere, the settings, and everything about the game that's supposed to be spectacular on the PS5 is not spectacular on the PS5. Why? Because they dumbed it down so it can be playable on the PlayStation 4, which is inferior technology. It's the same way with the Switch 2 and the Switch. It's the same way with the Series X and S with this Xbox One. Because a number of you are broke boys. PlayStation 4 broke boys. Switch broke boys. Xbox One broke boys. Again, I don't think Xbox did that like that. I could be wrong on that. But nevertheless, y'all broke ass motherfuckers are the reason why these games on the Xbox Series X and S and the PlayStation 5 did not look as good as they did, because y'all was on high demand of having them come out on inferior console, the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. And this is why when people look back at gaming, they're going to say, oh, the PS5 and the Xbox Series S, that was like amongst the worst. And I'm going to go for and say this is the worst. This is the worst because, again, PlayStation 4 broke boards, and because of constant price increase when they had no business raising these prices. This is the worst generation of gaming. I don't care how well the Switch did in numbers, because the Switch is a part of that generation. Not the Switch 2, the Switch 1. I don't care how well the Switch did. I don't even care if it's Switch 1, that generation, between the 3. But this right here is the worst generation for console gaming. You cannot tell me otherwise. You cannot tell me otherwise. I'm going to call it a wrap now. So with all that said, y'all know what this is. This is the boy New Jack Gatsby, a.k.a. New Stimulate Smith, saying peace out, y'all, and I'll see y'all next time. Yeah.